Vande Sri Ramanarshi Acharyasya Padabjam Yo me darshayadisham Bhantam Dhvantamatitya Kathaya nijaya kalusham harata karuna nidhina runa shailajusha Bhagavahana bhashita tattva vida vrishavahana mauna rahasya bhrita Ganaran mukha suri sabhavu.
I want you to tell us when you first saw Bhagavan, who was there, who took you, and how it happened.
I was just about 8 years old.
8.
In 1921, when I was studying Sanskrit under one of the earliest devotees of Maharishi Vasudeva Shastri.
Vasudeva Shastri.
He took me to Bhagavan, who was then at the Skanda ashram. When I first had the darshan of Maharishi, he was sitting in that veranda. I was simply enchanted. His eyes were eloquent. I was not myself. Just for 1 or 2 minutes, I was feasting in his eyes. I knew nothing. I can even say now, I have no body consciousness then. Then only I came to know I am standing before him, just like that. It was only in 1926, when I was about 13 years old, T.K. Sundareshiyar, he was also one of the old devotees of Maharishi, as also Nayana. He was my teacher. When I was studying local school, he was my teacher. He just took me to Nayana one day.
Where was Nayana?
At that he was living in the town. When I saw him, his aquiline nose and his clear-cut features, tall figure, that benign smile, and he appeared to me just like Christ. And when I prostrated, then I got up. He just placed his right hand over my head, just giving blessings, saying, Jata Chiranjeeva, meaning darling, live long. I was thrilled then. When I passed my SLC in 1930, almost for 2 years I didn't go anywhere for my civil engineering studies. I was always with T.K. Sundareshiyar. Whenever he goes to the ashram, just like and shadow, I used to follow him. I have more chance of seeing Maharishi sitting there and eating and other things like that. And even of course, Nayana also left this Tiruvannamalai for Shirasi. I remember 1929 March. Till that time, before that, his son was my Sanskrit teacher in the school. So I have had occasions also to go to his house off and on. He was teaching me Sanskrit in that high school. And we had one Sanskrit association. In that, very often Nayana used to come and talk in Tamil. Even though I did not understand much, that had some effect on me, I used to hear him talk. Very sweet and very lovely. He will always keep up his time and other things. I have heard some of his lectures in the school and other things.
And you used to say Bhagavan used to give you things to proofread sometimes?
Oh, that all later. That is from 1931 or 32. Still afterwards, when I passed out in 1935, to tell you my autobiography, I was not at all settled in material life. From 1935 to 45, I was only gathering here. I go to some place, get employment. Then I simply, suddenly, rightly or wrongly, I give the job and come away like that. Only in 1945 March, our K.K. Nambiar, he took me to corporation. Then I continued from 1945 to 6 to 9 there. Even then also sometimes I left job, somehow I was reinstated. That's all I can say.
That same job.
Same job. But I was there in 1938, 39, 40s, in 30s. Our Venkataraman TV ashram president, I know him from 1934. At that time Sundaram was only a small child. From 1938, from 1934, especially from 1938, he is a very close friend. In fact, we used to share the same bed like that in the ashram. We will so closely move. The closeness was so much. One day during the month of Margazhi, that is December, early morning we used to sing that, the Tiruvannamalai, early morning songs, Tiruvannamalai, Tirupavi. I used to sing along with Kunji Swami. One day, myself and our T.N. Venkataraman, we used to call him as just Ambi also in those days. We had been to cinema. So I didn't attend the early morning, that Parayana. That day Bhagavan just asked me, where were you this early morning? He asked in Tamil. I simply said, I will speak the truth. I told him, Ambi and myself had gone to see on cinema, he said.
The previous night.
Yes, previous night.
So Bhagavan, what did he say?
He didn't say anything, just yes.
Right.
Nayana, that is Nayana means Kavyakanta, Ganapati Shastri. He intended to, write verses on Bhagavan, about 100 verses on him. So in the different meters, that is his nature. He won't do it all at a time. In 1 meter, some few one sloka today, in another meter, another sloka, like that when he collected to make it 100. That is his capable of that. So when he passed away, already there was only some, say about 24 verses available here with Bhagavan. Then about 16 verses, he used to write letters from Shirasi and other places. Along with that, he used to write 1 sloka or 2 slokas like that. Like that, we had about 16 verses. Then Bhagavan he collected all the verses. He just arranged that and got it as in the form of 40 verses. And he himself wrote the concluding verse, changed the particular place to make it 40. Previously it was Narasimhir Ganapatihi Vasishto Ramanam Gurum Patyanam Ekavimshatya Skandamsham Stutavan Rishi. You know the meaning. That is Ganapati, son of Narasimha, Vasishta Gotra, he belongs to that. He praised Maharishi by writing 21 verses. And Maharishi is Skandamsha, he is the avatar of Skanda, like that. Maharishi just collected instead of Ekavimshatya, that is 21, he just changed it as Chatvarimshan Miteipa, that is 40 verses. Only that word only he changed it. And he made it that. Then he printed. When the proof came, in one verse, he gave it by Isa, Vasarjitam, he must have that Irji. It was only Vasajitam like that, but I was too young. Somehow it escaped notice so much. I just showed it to him. Vasarjitam, there must be. How is it escaped me, he said. Then he corrected.
So it was already in the proofs. This was the printing proof. Right?
Printing proof. Right. That is the first time they published. That is Kavyakanta, Stotra, that is Chatvarimshat for the first time.
Tell me how that happened.
All right. Now I tell you how the Chatvarimshat verses became. Now I have to tell you in detail something. You know, then I have to tell you about the life of Nana also, I can say shortly. Is it not?
All right, yeah.
Then it will be some connection.
All right.
You know, Nayana means you can understand, that is Kavyakanta, Ganapati Shastri in those days. Nayana was born in the month of November 17th in the year of our Lord 1878. In Kalavarayi, a village in Vizag district, At that time, it was Madras Presidency. There is no Andhra Pradesh. Then, in very short, I am going to give his life. Originally, some generations ago, Nayana family belonged to Tanjore district, that is near Kumbakonam. There is a village, Valangeman village, a place famous on account of Right Honorable V. Srinivas Sastri, that silver-tongued orator, British Commonwealth. That's a different. Then they migrated to Andhra, and at the time of birth he was in Vizag district. At the age of 18, he got himself married. That is in 1896. Then he went for tapas with his father's permission to north. At that time, before that he had studied many things, shastras and everything, that's all. He had occasion to go to Navadvipa, that is near Calcutta or so. There he went with some of his friends in a boat, and he appeared before the assembly and he passed the examination in the sense. Great scholar, he got the title Kavya Kantha, that is having poetry in his throat, Kavya Kantha. All right. Then before coming to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachalam in 1903, he was in Kanchipuram, was doing tapas Panchakshari mainly. He had many mantras from his father and he was going on doing. When he came to Arunachala in the more or less month of November or December 1903, he just went and saw Maharishi, went there very much again, he was not there. He saw him along with that Padmanabha Swami near that Malaipal Tirtham, that thing. At that time, you know the history, he explained the meaning of Shuklam Bharadaram, applying to Maharishi like that. That's all. At that time also, he was not much interested. He came to Maharishi. At that time he is not called Maharishi, he was called Ramanasramam. So he is a great man. And he was living in the town, other things. And he wrote Harasahasram first. Hara means Ishvara. Now that is last. A few shlokas I know that is available. There is internal evidence. There he says, after finishing this Panchakshara Japa, I mean say 10 million times, that means say 1 crore, I have begun to praise you. Arunachala, he says, Kotim Taravatam Sasya Panchakshara Mahamanoho Purayitva Ganapati Purarim Stotu Mujjata. That is it. Then after that also last. Then he went to Bellur, he was there for some time, and then he came to Tiruvannamalai. Then afterwards, in 1907, he accepted Maharishi, he accepted Brahmana Swami as his guru, that we know. After that, after the duty prasad, the grace of Maharishi, Devi, he composed that Uma Sahasram, 1000 verses in praise of Uma. That was in the month of December also. In January 1908, at that he was called Maharishi. Maharishi, Nayana and some other, they repaired to see Panchayaman temple. In Panchayaman temple, when he was there, one day, early morning, Maharishi was just sitting. In front of him, Nayana and others, whatever there, they are all sitting. Maharishi was almost always indrawn. Suddenly, on early morning, Nayana saw something like a star, a light. It came and touched Bhagavan's forehead 6 times. Everybody was witnessing. Then from that, it was proved for him, proved the identity of, that is, himself the Amsha of part of Ganapati and Maharishi as Lord Skanda Subramanya. Yes, that great light that became 6-fold like that. So he immediately, he just praised him, beginning with Yana Yatra, that finds a place in Chatvarimshat. 8 verses, that's some Artakam. Then after that also, he just he composed verses on Maharishi in the form of Totaka Vritta. That is one form of Vritta, that is one form of, in meter. For that concluding, that begins from Kathaya to Ramanena Sanatha Vidam Bhuvanam, 10 verses. The concluding verses is Narasimhir Ganapatihi Vasishta Kulanandanaha Dashabis Totake Racham Acharyasya Yasho Jagu. That is the concluding verse. Yes, he praised like that. That is one. That was when Maharishi was in Virupaksha cave. We have got already that 8 verses, so 18 verses. Probably in Skandashram or so, he might have come some 3 verses. So all told 21 verses. Before Maharishi moved down to the present ashram, he has made it as 21 verses. There he said, Ekavamshatya Padyanam Ekavamshatya Skandamsham Sutavandi. So we are having 21 verses. When Nayana left this place to Shirasi, even some 3 verses. There is one verse, important verse, that is why important means when Maharishi once for all came and settled in this ashram in the end of December 1922, the first Jayanti occurred on 3rd January 1923. On that day, Nayana composed one verse. That verse is very significant. Devi Shaktiriyam Drishoho Shritajanaddhantakshayadhajini Devi Shririyamambujaksha Bhagishi Vaktre Sagasrachade Devi Brahmavadhuriyam Vijayate Vyahara Gudha Para Vishvacharya Mahanubhava Ramana Tvam Staute Kaprakritaha. Nayana saw in his eyes Devi, that is Durga, dispelling the darkness of the ignorance of his followers, and he saw in his face of 1,000 expressions, that is Lakshmi, and in his voice that Paravak, that supreme walk, that is Saraswati, he saw in him. So all the deities that he prayed. That one verse was there, and there is another 2 verses. So we have got now 24 verses. Other 16 verses, here and there when he wrote letters from Shirasi to Maharishi from 931 to end of 31 or so, about for 8-month country, every week he was writing letters. He used to contribute 1 sloka, 2 sloka, at times in 8. Like that we got 16 and in different meters. Then Bhagavan, after Nayana's demise, he put it in the form of one stotra, making it as 40. They published it. Then afterwards, I think in 30s, when I was here, 30s or I think 40s. 40s means 40 to 49, like that. Bhagavan was gathering all Sanskrit verses in praise of him by different people on different occasions. I happened to be in the old hall. Those days also, even though I was when I see I feel some shy, with all that, I just told Bhagavan, there is one verse by Nayana and Bhagavan I just mentioned. Of course, that's all in Tamil. He asked me, what is that verse, he said. Then I immediately recited, I know the verse. Vande Sri Ramanarishehe Acharyasya Padabjam Yome Darishayadisham Bhantam Dhvantam Atitya. Then he said, have you got the verse with you? Who gave you the verse? I just told him, I have it with me at home because I belong to this place, my house is in the town, you see. I bring the notebook, I show it, that is in the handwriting of Nayana, I said. And I told him when he has written. I told him, yes, Dwaraswami here, famous old devotee, Kapali Shastriya, even though they are all devotees of Maharishi, they are mostly followers of Sri Aurobindo. There's nothing wrong about it. They intended, because Nayana, great scholar, they want Aurobindo's important book or the work, Mother in English, to be translated by Nayana. Yes.
Into Sanskrit.
Yes, into Sanskrit. Of course, they give him the purport or the meaning of the that chapter. He will put it in Sanskrit like that. Like that, he has done. Say I can say 2 chapters. When shown to Aurobindo, such a great man, being a great man, he said, it far excels the original. He said, and in that he didn't write immediately. He wrote as usual. First, a verse in praise of his Guru. There he said, then the second verse only he starts, Vyachakya Varavindo Yadhiman Rishirangle. Like that he just began. Then I told him like that, I showed the notebook. Then Bhagavan immediately noted the shloka in his notebook in the shelf before him. Then afterwards he found a place in the second edition. I still have the first copy without that verse. So that's how the 40 verses came into being. Do you know, generally we know beforehand when Nayanar is coming to darshan. In fact, on 2 occasions after he left this place, I have seen him coming here and seeing Bhagavan. One time when I was in the hall, Bhagavan simply said, Nayana is expected now. You can just spread the kambli or some mattress. After his Kapala Veda, he cannot put his foot on the, bare floor. He couldn't contain it. His body is so sensitive. After that, even he didn't have shave and other things. So he won't walk without that wooden sandals. So as soon as he comes near the footstep, he will remove his sandals. He will go straight to he will put that, then he will prostrate completely. Then he will sit by the side and to Bhagavan's left side. And if anybody goes and prostrate before him, Nayana won't like it. He will prevent it. But he will only just looking at Bhagavan and other things. If occasion arises, he will talk about the same thing. And in this connection, Nayana used to say, I have heard him also say, people come here seeing that effulgent light and God himself in his presence. They close their eyes, they begin to meditate. What a foolish thing. They must do it in their house. Here, what you search for, what you see, it is already there in present. You must just simply look at him. That is more than enough. He used to say. That itself is meditation. He used to say. And when he comes, get down from the jet car vehicle, he will never look this side or that side, never talk to anyone. He will come straight to the hall, then only he will talk with full devotion. And his nature is, it seems once in his travel, that is 1911 or 12 something, because he saw Maharishi 1908, became his disciple 1908. During his travel in that south, when he went to Kaladi, the birthplace of Adi Shankara, there the great pontiff Narasimha Bharati, he was there. Even though he is a great in his own right, Nayana did not bow before him. He simply said to those present, this mastakam, this head will not bow to anybody. Once it is prostrated before Maharishi, my master, it will never bow to anybody in the world, not out of egoistic tendency. That is his one-pointed devotion to Maharishi. 1908, they were all living in Pacheman temple. After that time, after some days or weeks, he wanted to go do tapas. So he went to Madras. Along with him, he took Vasudeva Sastri with him. Then he asked for a message, Maharishi. It is there in the background. Maharishi said, abide in the heart, you just surrender, the one God who knows the present, past and future, will do whatever he will decide for it. Whatever is to be done, that will be done. You can get it. We always abide in the heart. That the one which is in the heart. Nayana meant. He went on Shastra to Tiruvannamallai, that is the suburb of Madras. The first night itself, in the local temple, that temple is Tripura Sundari, famous temple. He saw the Sri Kapali Shastri, who is going to become his ardent devotee afterwards. First, then he conversed with him in shlokas itself. When he described about the next day, about the deity and other things, Purana story, he composed shlokas under like that. Then for tapas, he came there for tapas. For some time in Veda Pathshala he did tapas. Then afterwards in that South Border street also there is one Vinayaka temple. There he repaired. There he was doing tapas in his own way. On the 18th day, when he was keeping wide awake and the dhyanam or tapas, like a thing, he was sitting doing that. Maharshi appeared before him. When he saw Maharshi, he began to get up and with the devil. And Maharshi pressed him with his right hand, the head, and made him sit down. At that time, he got a very brilliant thrill, and he felt something, some energy, something inundated, it coursed through his body, everything, something. Then afterwards, when he opened his eyes, Maharishi was not there. Then the same thing, we will go to Maharishi. He was then at the Virupaksha gate. Maharishi himself corroborated this what he has done after some time, number of times. He said while he was in Virupaksha cave lying, of course he was keeping awake, suddenly a ray raised from his heart and it darted forth through his head to the sky. And he simply followed the ray in the sky. He travelled along with the luminaries. Then after some time, he heard, see, Tiruvattur, I mean say twice or thrice. Then he just came down. He walked on the street for some time. In front of it, he went to the temple and he did that. And what he has done, he forgot all this. He just that. Then when he woke up, he found himself in the Virupaksha cave. That's how that thing happened.